Oh shit, I'm shaking so bad. It was fun while it lasted, wasn't it? I admire your determination. I would give you something, but I have nothing. Ashley, looks like this game never gave you this badge. So here you go. Game should have given it to you beforehand. I'll be seeing you soon, hopefully. Goodbye. I need some time to rest.